it again.
Yeah. Third time's the charm,
They're trying to-
maybe.
yeah, I not only are you a musician, you're a magician. You just disappear.
That's usually what happens when it comes time to pay up for something. I don't know. That's
Right? Yeah. Or for some reason it's the lawnmower man.
oh yeah, I haven't seen that. Golly, wow.
Yeah, I'm surprised I remember that. Probably, well, back in the day, I was obsessed with Stephen King back in the day.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, what do we recap on? There's the
We were
Florida,
talking.
Tennessee, Southern
Yeah,
rock, Southern
yeah,
gospel,
yeah,
red dirt.
yeah. Just how we both you had your moment with Southern Rock where you really didn't know what it was, and I didn't have really know what Red Dirt was, and then we just kind of like aha moments,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a huge moment for me because I never knew. I never knew. One, I'd ever find country music that I ever would like, and two,
Right.
would find like a kind of like blend of rock
Yeah.
and country.
I was the same way, and I actually when I was in my early 20s and I was living in Tennessee, I got myself in some hot water because and my opinions have changed since, but at that time, I felt like all country music sounded the same, and I just didn't care. That was the only reason I didn't care for it. And I would always like listen to the guys that were trying to do a little heavier style of country music, and or just do something different. Um, and I also did a little bit of. I was in and out of Nashville doing some filler work as a drummer, so I was kind of around. If you ever go down Music Row and you go step in every bar, after a while you're like, okay, or at least it was like that back then. But like I just gotten so burned out that us back then I was like, I don't like country music because everything sounded the same. And Red Dirt for me, I was like, kind of like you, I was like, yeah, I can listen to this. These guys aren't afraid to rock out. You could still have a heavy riff and then there's a damn steel guitar in the background somewhere, um, and I just felt like everybody was trying to be more authentic and more themselves rather than follow the formula. And so that's one reason why I think I fell in love with Red Dirt was everybody, granted you still have influences and we're all influencing each other, but everybody's still being genuinely themselves. And if it means the song's going to have a metal breakdown, then it's going to have a metal breakdown in the middle of a Red Dirt song. And there's nothing wrong with that, versus there's some places in the world that, you have to follow a formula to be successful. And I think the Red Dirt scene is like pretty much do what you want as long as you keep it, within a certain confined area. You can do what you want and be successful. And so I kind of like the freedom of the Red Dirt and the rock and everything versus the cookie cutter. It's got to be, this sound, this look, this yada yada yada. And I think that's one reason why when I moved to Texas and discovered what Red Dirt was, it really did change me as a musician. And so I definitely right there with you with heavier guitar tones and everything just really makes me like it more, you know.
Absolutely, and that's almost like the exact same opinion I had of country music too. I remember the first time going to Nashville, and going up to the windows and
Yeah,
just sampling it. And it's just like I just heard this two windows down, and
yeah.
it was all just a reproduction. And what I'm like, I thought this was a music town. I was like,
But yeah, and not to take away from those people's talent, right?
yeah,
They
well,
are
yeah,
extremely talented, right? But to be successful there, you have to follow A, B, C, and D. I
hmm
mean, they have entire schools to where they teach you how to be the next country artist and to be the next Morgan Wallen rather than I want you to be you. You sell yourself, find out what's profitable about you. And I think that's why I like it down here, Texas and Oklahoma, and all of us. We say this is us, whether you like it or not, listen to our music or not. We're going to do our thing. And but I'm right there with you. I got friends that work in Nashville, and they're extremely talented and I love them. Um, and so not to take away from them, it's just I like it. I like that freedom better, not to have to follow a formula.
Absolutely. And it's just easier to be yourself too. You know,
Huh.
like who wants to be like writing and recording a song and be like that? You know,
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
I'm
how.
with you. Yeah, and also it gets confusing, you know, and it when you follow that formula and that cookie cutter, I even now I'm like, is who is that? Is that so and so? No, that's this person. Shit, it sounds just like so and so. Whereas down here, I think everybody has their own like little distinct things that they do. Now, granted, we still all borrow from each other, but there's still things that like uh, you won't see. Like Treaty Oak does differently to Dylan Wheeler. You know, there might be some things here and there that correlate and cross over, but you know, Austin Mead, he's got his own thing. You do know who's who, you know, and that's what I like about what we're doing in the red dirt scene from Oklahoma and all the other places that's playing red dirt Texas. Because now red dirt's starting to get like starting to bleed into Florida. It's starting to bleed in Alabama. I'm seeing bands call themselves red dirt. I'm seeing bands calling themselves red dirt. I'm seeing it just kind of like spread, and it's really cool to me go from not knowing anything about it to now seeing it blossom. It's just really cool to see, like, okay, wow, we don't have to follow this cookie cutter. We can go play this style, and it leaves us a lot of room to do whatever the hell we want.
Absolutely. Like room to breathe. It just
Uh-huh.
has to be so much better, especially like you say, a very broad sense of genres that you listen to. Like not a lot of people would know. I used to listen to a lot of reggae, a ton
Oh,
of
really?
reggae.
Oh, yeah.
I used to blow people's mind. I remember going back. I used to work at like a beach bar, and the reggae band they were back eating food. And I said, "Hey man, I really like your guys' sound." And I was just like, "Okay." And I was like, "I was like, you know any Sizzla?" And they're like, "Sizzla? You know who Sizzla is?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I know who that is." And they
That's
were like,
awesome.
they just blew their mind. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I used to listen to rap until it all just started sounding the same. I
Another genre that's found a cookie cutter formula. Yeah.
absolutely like when it all, even the lyrics sounded the same, and people were like, "Well, you're just not listening." I'm like, "Dude, I'm done." If at the time when I was like listening to like a lot of Metallica, if Metallica sang about the exact same thing over and over and over again, I'd be like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm done." You know,
Yeah.
It- but it, 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 it is funny. Like some people ask, like, "What don't you like about country?" I never really like put that out. There are
Mhm.
some stuff that it's just still, eh, it kind of just irks me.
I think mine is I just grew up on it. You know, and I'm not saying like I got tired of it growing up on it, but like I like challenges, right? So, and I'm not tooting my own horn. This is just my experience. At 9 years old, I was thrust into traveling with a Southern gospel band, and um, as soon as they figured I could carry a beat, they just put me in a suit and tie and put me on stage, and I was playing, and that lasted for quite a you know couple of years, 2 3 years or something like that, and then I was playing Southern gospel music and praise and worship music in church every Wednesday and twice on Sundays. Um, and I think for me, I personally just got burned out because I was like, "Hey, we're going to play this song." I'm like, "Okay, the almost the exact same beat as three songs before." Um, so for me, that's when I started kind of picking up, and I was like, you know, that's the only thing I think I got to where I didn't like was some of it's super repetitive, and I think even today, some of the better country music artists break it up a little bit. Like I think I like Luke Combs a lot because I can listen to a Luke Combs song and he breaks it up. You know, he's got some stuff he'll throw in there that you're like, oh, I kind of didn't expect that from him. or like I really like how he takes you on a journey in some of his lyrics, or maybe some of the guitar tones, maybe some of the stuff their drummer does. They change it up just enough to where not every Luke, it's Luke Combs, but not every one of his songs is like Hurricane sounds different from Crazy Beautiful. Crazy Beautiful sounds different from Ain't No Love in Oklahoma. He really does a good job in breaking his stuff up. But then you've got other artists that just like song A sounds like song B and C and D and continuing, and you're like, okay, that's enough of that. Like, time to change it up. But
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm definitely. I think monotony and repetitiveness can kill anything.
Hmm.
Man, no matter what you do, eat the exact same meal every day at lunchtime and see how long that lasts.
Right.
I think any of us would get tired of the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, I had the same thing playing, and I would look down at like the set list, and I'd always have like, I'd always have my cheat sheets because I never listened to it,
Yeah,
and I'd just be like, dude, it's all the same song. It's just move the capo.
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is crazy, and because they were like, country music's hard to write. And I said, not this stuff. So go grab yourself a capo and a circle of fists. Pick a couple chords.
I think lyrically, it can be hard to write because I think what separates some of the better country music artists from the ones that are not as well known is I think some of the lyrics are delivered and written in a particular way to where it first it grabs your ear and then it grabs your imagination. When it grabs your imagination, it'll grab your heart. Um, and I think there's some that are super successful with that. Again, I'm gonna go back to Luke Combs. Like I sing only one of his songs during my acoustic sets, but I think out of all the country music artists, I know more of his music than I do anybody. Um, and I think he writes about things and he writes in a certain way that helps. Musically, I think you're right. Uh, it can be super repetitive and super easy, you know. Um, but Ella Langley is a perfect example. Some of her songs are really, three, four chords, and musically, you can learn them pretty quickly. But how she sings it and what she sings about is fun, even if it's the sad stuff or the breakup stuff. But her voice, the way she delivers it, and how she writes the words and the placement and her enunciation on things, you're like, yeah, I can listen to that. Caitlin Butts, you know, I love her. I love the stories her songs tell. Like that, hers. I'm a storyteller, and I think Caitlin writes amazing stories. So I think it's just one of those things where like you got some that write about the exact same thing over and over again, and again that gets boring. But then you've got some of these up and comers like Ella and Caitlin. Caitlin is like, heck yeah, I like that. I haven't found fault with either one of them yet. I look for it, but I love them. And I know that might be weird for a guy, but I love their music.
Uh, Same here, 100%. Yeah, I got to see her live for the first time, and I was just shocked. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. I was just like, this is like just like recording just can't cover like the full
No,
thing.
no.
It, I imagine like seeing like Tyler Childers. I've never seen Tyler Childers live. Is
Mhm.
like the same experience. This is your dog.
I warned you, yeah. Hey, you're all right. Yeah, the wind blows wrong and they're mad about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got one of. But yeah, like hearing Caitlin like the first time when she like really digs into her voice, and you're just like, wow, just that whole movement of air. It's just
Yeah.
so much immersive, like seeing it live. And then she just stops and tells the story about the song, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Which people don't do anymore. And my band will tell me, Brad, you talk too much sometimes between songs. I'm like, no, man, sometimes you just got to tell the story. That's something that if you go back and you watch when music was exploding, and I'm talking about like that whole from the 60s all the way through about the mid 90s, early 2000s, you go to a live show, it wasn't just like, let's get through as many songs we can in an hour. Sometimes they would take you on a journey. Let me tell you about the song, where it come from, where it was birthed. Let me tell you how it makes me feel. Do you feel the same way? And people used to buy tickets for an experience, and part of the experience was talking with the artist or the artist talking to you. And I think Taylor Swift does that quite often. My wife was watching the documentary, and I caught some of that. But taking people on a journey, uh, and part of that is doing that. And I think more artists need to do that. You know, because people come to watch you and get to know you. They don't come to listen to you. They can listen to you on Spotify. So I'm happy to know that I'm not the only one that likes to talk too much on stage. I love telling the stories, you know. So because sometimes people just listen to the lyrics and like, hell yeah, this is a good song. But sometimes I really want. It's kind of like if you were a minister. Sometimes you got to stop and talk, and you feel led to say something. Uh, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just depends on the crowd and depends on. But I think telling the story of the song helps people grasp and appreciate the song more than just because it's more than just music for some of us. So
Yeah, a lot of people use it as therapy.
I know I do. Yeah, I know I do. Every one of my songs is birthed from somewhere, some type of experience or memory or pain or enjoyment. So yeah, it's definitely therapy for a lot of people.
Yeah, and we were talking about shows back in the day. You always see like the 60s and 70s. A lot of times it's like the drummer because they
Hmm.
can, free up a hand. They're like eating food because they've been playing for so long.
Yeah, yeah,
It used to be wild. I couldn't imagine like they wanted to play that long. Now,
yeah. I don't think I could. We've done a couple 4-hour shows back when we first started, and every once in a while we'll do a venue a solid and play for like 3 hours with breaks, and I'm beat. Like I'm exhausted. And but yeah, I don't think I could have done like what they did back in the day, man. And maybe I could have. I don't know. But I'm happy things have changed where there's a shorter attention span.
yeah, that I wish when we were doing when my band was doing like we were doing like 120 shows a year. They were all 4 hour. It's it's a lot because you can play the same songs and just hit it right on the 4 hour mark, and then you can do all the same songs and be like, dude, we have 45 minutes left. Like, what happened? Like, did we go like full
That's
Ramones or play too fast? And and then you're just like, somebody, the lead singer just turn around and be like, dude, somebody just say a song. Say a song.
any
Does
song.
anybody know a song?
We had that happen to us. I can't remember where we were at. But we played our set and we're like 3 songs from the end, and I look over our little stage clock and I go, we got like an hour left. What did we do? How did we do this? And I'm in the talkback mic, like, we got to slow down. We got to do something. Someone pretend to pass out on stage, something like stall because we we can't end this thing an hour short. I can't remember where we were at when we did that, but I just remember like I never get nervous, but that was one of the few times I'm like, oh no, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to lose money on this gig. Like, what's going on? How did we do this? And but I think that's where we just how we fixed that was now we rehearse our sets. So like this week, we'll be up in Sturgis opening up for Lowland Reveille at Kickstands. I think we're playing 90 minutes. So Thursday night we practice. I'm going to write down the set for 90 minutes, and that's what we're going to practice, and we're going to time it and make sure it's as close to 90 minutes as we can get. And then that's how we've got productive with that and keep that from happening. Is we don't have we used to have a set list. It's the same set list every show, but then I just felt like it wasn't connecting as well. And I personally, I used to be a pro wrestler. Okay, I did that for 6 years. I traveled the country, did it, enjoyed it. And for those that ain't listening, I did the stuff like John Cena and Hulk Hogan and all them did. I just did it on the independents. Well, I didn't go into every match thinking that if I have the same match I had last week against such and such in Dallas, that was a good match. Well, I didn't want to repeat that same match in Arkansas the week after. I wanted to give them something different, something new. Now, granted, the crowd in Arkansas didn't see me in Dallas, but I don't know. I just had this thing about I want to give them something, give the crowd something new every time I wrestled, unless it was something unique to me that I had to do every match. And I approach it the same way with our music is even though the people in Sturgis have never seen us before, I don't want to do the same 90-minute set this upcoming weekend as we did 2 weeks ago. And I just want people to feel like they're getting something fresh and new and fun. And so that's what we do. We pre-write our sets before the show rather than following a set list. Well, we followed a set list for 2 years. And after a while, I mean, yeah, you know the set list, you know what's coming up next and all that stuff, and it builds stage confidence. But at the same time, you kind of get burned out. And then two, if you do have that fan or fans that follow you from one show to the next, you're kind of giving them the same show every time. You know, I'd rather give them something a little fresh every once in a while, a little something different, surprise them. You know, that's what we started doing to kind of make things a little easier on us by keeping our timing and just write the set list before the show and it's a fresh set list every show.
Nice. That does make a difference because, you know, when you do have like the weekend warrior, when you guys are out on a run and you have someone following, it is the variety is cool. Where you know, even if it's the same songs, it's not even in the same order. That
and
even helps.
Most of our songs are originals anyway. So yeah, we're going to play. Most of our songs are the same songs, but you know, what's the follow up to one of the songs? You know, there's a couple songs that pair that we keep paired because maybe they're both in a certain tuning, or maybe one riff leads into the other one. We let it bleed in together. Um, so we have those moments. But you know, I would say there's probably 5 or 6 songs that we may rotate around just to kind of keep it mainly for us, but also just you know, just a fresh show every time. You know, I don't want to rehash the same thing over and over. And other people have their own ways of doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. Just for us, it works better to write a fresh set list.
Now, do you have a cover that like you play, or just having the back pocket just in case you got to shake up the crowd or to keep it interesting?
Yeah. We've got a few, but my favorite we do that makes everybody go, how the hell, how this works and how does it work? And is our version of Pony by Genuine. So we do a rock version of Pony by Genuine and it hits every time. People love it. We mash up a couple other songs in it. Well, we'll throw Baby Got Back. We'll throw Old Town Road. We'll throw Yellow Bone in there. And we have a way of playing it to where you're like, hell yeah, this is really, really cool, these guys. I think we also do probably one of the better covers of Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. We beef it up quite a bit and rock it out and have a good time. Some people's like, well, it's a country song. Well, you can rock it up and have fun with it. So those are some of our favorites we do. We're about to add some dad rock covers. Just some stuff that we know is popular and just kind of help. Like we feel like it's also with us leading more into like a little heavier of a sound. And me being 38, you know, I grew up in the 2000s and in the late 90s. It's natural. Like my writing style leans towards that. So throwing a couple songs in there, I think we're learning Higher by Creed and Animals by Nickelback and you know a couple other stuff. But just to have those in there um, as a crowd pleaser and sing along songs. But I would say the most favorite by far that has stayed and probably will never leave is our version of Pony.
Nice. Yes, we had before we'd come back on like another set, the musicians of the band we'd get up on stage and we'd say, if anybody knows this song, you come up and tell us the song title of this song, we'll buy you drinks. And we would play, I don't know if you ever heard Silverchair's Madman. It's an instrumental. It's it's easy. Like if I had to, I could play it with one finger, but it's so fast and it's so heavy. And I have wireless, so I would run out in the middle of the dance floor and just rock out. And the bass player, he would go do the same thing because we would end on like some like real slow, some slow song. I can't remember. I think it was like it'd be like Small Town Boy,
Ah,
And they come out, and like we were so tight. We've been playing it since we were 13 years old,
yeah.
and people were just like, "What the hell was that?" I always love people's reactions. They're like, "Dude, that's a real song." I'm like, "Yeah," because at the end, it's just like there's only one word. It's like at the end, it's just like "Madman," and
Yeah.
it's done, and then it gets, then we just would stop, and somebody would come up and whatnot, and then it's funny that it would go right back into like whatever we were playing, but
That's awesome.
it really really turned some heads because a lot of guys are brought to country shows by their girlfriends, and
Yeah.
they weren't excited until because like I used to manage the band, and then guitar player has a kid, and I didn't know any of the songs, and but I just remember like when I would pull out my my Dean my Dime from Hell, stuff like that, and people were like, whoa, what's going on here? And I'm like, yeah, and the other bands are playing Fender Twins, and I have like the Kemper set up on like Bogner Ubershaws and
Oh yeah.
5150s, and I'm adding pinch harmonics, and I got the Zach Wild
Nice.
bullseye, and people like you see the guys with like
They're like the hell
the
yeah
leather
moment.
jackets, and then in between songs, I'd play like riffs from like Slayer, and
Nice.
people are like, "Dude, how you gonna tease me like that?" And only once did this guy was like 6'8", and he was in like overalls, and I was like, dun, 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 dun. And he's like, I could tell he was getting into it, and I stopped, and he said something, said, "Man, boy, I appreciate that if you finish that song." And I said, "You know what? Only we're playing this song because there was no we were on like the same floor in like the corner of a just a dive bar. Like
Yeah.
it was just a place like I don't even know if we got paid. It was just like you guys can drink all you want, and
Oh yeah.
you guys just play over there. You can be as loud as you want. There's no PA. It's just stage level. Man, that dude was like standing right in front of me. I was like, you know what? We're playing it. We don't know
Yeah.
it, but we're
It's a
playing
big deal. Yeah.
it.
We now open with our like a little jam sesh. We play Bulls on Parade.
Nice.
And like we did it at the Blue Light when we opened for Lowland Reveille not too long ago. And the necks that snapped in that place when we started, they were like, "What the fuck?" So that was a cool feeling. And then like and I know it sounds like it's impossible to do, but we somehow do it. We play Bad Bitch by Dylan Wheeler as well as a cover we throw in every once in a while, and we get dirty with that song. Like we get heavy, especially when I'm done singing and we play like an outro, we metal it up real heavy. And it's Dylan's song and it will forever be Dylan's song. But we've been asked multiple times, "Hey, how do I listen to y'all song on Spotify?" I'm like, "Which song?" They're like, "That Bad Bitch song." I said, "That's Dylan Willer, brother." Like, do you listen to his version? His version is better than ours. We just beef it up like to make it fit us. But man, like we used to also play. Now this is what I used to call our this was our neck breaking song, and we stopped playing it, and I'll tell you why. But we used to have a rock version of White House Road, and man, it every time it didn't matter where we were at. And as soon as like you couldn't tell what the song was until I started singing, and as soon as I started singing, you'd see people was like, "Holy shit, this is cool," And then like it was always a crowd pleaser. They'd always come to the stage. And then recently, I can't remember the name of the band, but there was somebody on TikTok released their rock version of White House Road, and it's very similar to how we played ours. And we were like, "Fuck it, we can't play it no more." Like because now it's not us, and if we're not being originators, we're copying them. That's all anybody's gonna know because they went viral for it. But that used to be our neck breaker. So right now, I like those moments like you were talking about how like someone's like, "Hell yeah, finish that song." And I think Dylan Wheeler is one of those moments for us because people, when they know it, they'll reckon like the Red Dirt crowd recognizes it, but they just don't expect us to do what we do as the song because it gets heavier as the song progresses. Like we started off very similar to him, but as the song gets at the end, you're like you want to snap your neck and headbang. And then the way we open our shows now by playing Bulls on Parade, you're like, "Oh, I thought this was a Red Dirt show," So then we just keep messing with people, but we've had some moments like that where. where it's been kind of cool. We've had some wild moments like that, very similar to what you're explaining.
Yeah, and I think I know like Texas is very, very, play your original songs, but it's kind of like a walkout song. I always like the
Yeah,
power of the cover because if you walk up there and everybody's backs turned and everyone's having, they're having their birthday parties and they're having their drinks
hmm
and the DJ or whatever the music stops and people are just not even something's happening behind them, they don't care. And it's just nice to have like let's light this place up because as someone my age, like I haven't seen somebody cover Bulls on Parade in forever, and that's a
yeah,
like you can't not even like even if you never heard it, you're gonna want to know who sings it, and it's just one of those
yeah,
ones, and it's just like boom, let's just go on to our set, and it's weird. It's kind of weird
yeah,
when people they'll have no like music. Like I guess they don't play music, but they'll love music. But it's weird how that same person like that will not give the opening band their ear. Like they're
yeah,
like, no, I'm here for this. Now, there's a lot of people that will,
yeah.
but I just remember seeing that. I'm like, and you just it's just weird how like like they're there and you're just like they're just like, "Ah." Like, hey man, just give us a chance because you're gonna find some like really cool music. It's
And it's like that. It's not just music, man. Like I saw this stuff when I was a wrestler. It used to be like this when I wrestled. Like if if the owner or the booker didn't know what he was doing or didn't care, a lot of times say they'd throw like two greenhorns out to open the show, right? Just give the crowd a little something to watch, and no one would care, right? That's not how it's supposed to be done, but that's what a lot of places will do, or little filler matches, and nobody would care. And then 10 years down the road, they're on WWE and they're world champion, and all of a sudden, like, well, that guy looks familiar. Why didn't I pay him attention back then? It's kind of the same thing in the music. It's like we're here for the headliner. We don't really care for the openers. But if you look at almost every single famous band right now, or any band ever, they all were openers at one point. Every single one of them. Nobody just jumped straight to the top and was like garage band to headline, and now they went from headline into signing a record deal to and there might be one or two cases. Then that's very rare, but you name your band, they open for somebody. And I think that's where, as consumers, we goof up because I'm guilty of the same thing. I've done it. I'm here to see so and so, but then the opening band's good, and next thing you know, that opening band. Here's a great example. Lowland Reveille used to open for us, and they have done so well for themselves. It's flip flopped. We're opening for these guys, which we're cool with. Like I'm proud of those guys. Sometimes that happens. If you watch the Leonard Skinner documentary that they had for a little while, they went from being really strong openers to being headliners, but those strong opening opportunities is what got them to be headliners. And if more people pay attention to their openers and give them a chances, they'll find they're usually just as good as the headliner, or they're not far behind. You know, and sometimes in rare cases they're better. And that's I've seen that happen too. So, but that's just a consumer thing. We're conditioned to care more about the bigger name on the bill than we are about the people before, which I guess I'm a little more accustomed to. I've seen some people get upset about it, but it to me that's just part of the business. You're going to have those consumers that don't ever pay attention to the openers,
right.
but they will eventually.
Yeah, I've seen that. It was Monster Magnet, and Philly just totally was like, get off the stage. And then next thing you know, uh, Space Lord and all that came out. I was like, I could have heard that live. It just
Yeah,
they put them. It was like I guess it was emo or goth, which they're a very particular crowd in themselves.
right.
And it just was like, man, they sounded good, and then just they just had to start shouting out the sports teams to get any like positive reaction, and Next thing you know, in a couple months, they're everywhere, and you're never gonna see them for that cheap
Yeah.
ever. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but stuff like that happens, and I'll tell people, I'm like, you better be nice to the opening band because 9 times out of 10, they're friends with the
Yes.
headliners.
100%. 100%. And anytime we have an opener, it's somebody we typically know real well. And I have a horrible temper about people being rude to my musician friends and or anything like that. So if I catch somebody or here, I'm the first person to come say hi to you, and we'll figure that out real quick. Because just because they're not headlining, don't mean they don't put in the work. Don't mean they still put in the work. They put in the sacrifices. They're still doing everything they're wanting and needing to do. Maybe they just haven't gotten their feet wet enough yet to have that headliner spot, or maybe they're just in a market where the headliner has more of a following than the opener. It's one of those things where like Lowland Reveille, when they come to Amarillo, they always open for us because we had a bigger following. We open for them in Lubbock because they're more established in Lubbock. We're opening up for them in Sturgis because they're more established in Sturgis. Um, you know, but it's just again, people's misconception is openers are either like super rookies or they're just not good. And they have that misconception sometimes, and then sometimes I hear people say, "Well, damn, like people always rocked it," or "Those guys rocked it," or "Such and such rocked it," and just because they gave them a chance, or maybe the band did something to catch their ear, and it's just a consumer thing. We don't like appetizers. I mean, I hate when people try to give me an appetizer before I eat because I'm more worried about the main course. Uh, so, and that's just I think it's just us as consumers in general.
For some reason, I don't know why I was trying to think about appetizers. Sometimes I want to order one because like I feel like it gives people like more reason to be like, oh, and just like reach on your plate. And I'm so weird with food. Yeah, it's like being around like if you got a 4-year-old walking around, you're like, they
Uh-huh.
pick your food up, they take a bite, and they put it down. And you're like,
Yeah.
if you've never been around kids, that's shocking behavior. But when you're like,
Yeah.
whatever, hope you don't have a cold, little punk.
I got 5 kids, so I get it. So I get it. I get it 100%. So
you come you come back to your plate and there's just like 5 bite marks.
look, there's been times, man, like I'll cook. I love cook. Cooking's my love language, and I love to cook for my friends. I love to cook for my family. I love to cook, and I'm pretty decent at cooking. And there's been times where I'll cook a really good meal and everybody tears it up. And then finally, I always feed myself last. So I sit down, I make sure my wife eats, my kids eat, then I eat last. And if I serve you as a friend, I'm eating last. I'll go sit down and my son Ezra or my daughter Topanga or my other son Anderson will look at me and go, "Hey dad, I'm still kind of hungry." And I know I served everybody big portions, and I'll just be like, all right, just take my plate. just take my plate. I'll go eat a sandwich. And so man, that probably happens 2, 3 times a week where I'm like, just here. I'll portion them amongst the three of you. So I'm kind of used to, yeah. So now I have to sneak me a side plate and hide it, so they think it's all gone.
Definitely. It's like like when you're at a party and I hang out with my one buddy and man, he could drink 30 drinks. And
Mm,
it gets to the point where I'm like, I gotta like stash a couple of these. And like he'll know if I disappear for a little
yeah.
while. He's like, I know you have more. I'm like, it's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm 190. You're 250. This isn't fair.
You,
I
look,
told you to get
and
your
that's
own.
that's a thing. That is true. I know there's I had an uncle a great uncle that was pretty thin, and I always wondered like how he could drink the way he drank because he was so thin. Because me at 250, I'm at 255 right now, but me at 255, like Thursday night, I lost count at 9 beers and I lost count at 7 shots. Supposedly I had more. And I could put it away, but he could outdrink me, and I just like, how the hell? Like I just did. I don't know if it's a size difference or tolerance level, but man, yeah. And drinking's a different animal though. I can't eat a lot of food. I could pizza. I sit down and eat 2 slices of pizza. I'm full.
Hmm.
If I go drinking, it's a different story. It's a long different story. So I don't know if it's a hereditary thing or just I'm just a thirsty person. But yeah, I kind of feel you on that.
That's funny. Yeah, it's just some people can just. I had a buddy. We just call him scrawny, but there's just an endless hole, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's
some people just built different, and I
yeah
just gotta
built
respect
different.
that. Just built different.
Just their genetically, their body can just break it down and a lot faster than other people.
I guess the wife is. Hey, 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 Shorzy. So I named the dog Shorzy so I could say, fuck you, Shorzy. Hey. Hey, hush. Hush. Would you let him out so I could do this podcast without him barking no more? Anyways, where were we
Dogs.
at? Dogs. Yeah, I named him that whole reason. I took a month to decide on what to name him when I got him. And when he was a puppy, you couldn't walk by him fast because he'd reach out and sniff at your socks.
Mm-mm.
And I just kept like, man, fuck you. What are you doing? And at the time, I was watching Letterkenny faithfully. I loved it. And Shorzy was one of my favorite characters. And I was like, name this dog Shorzy. Just so I can be like, fuck you, Shorzy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we definitely got to bring up the new song coming out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So April 24th, we dropped a song called FAFO. I'm sure everybody knows that means fuck around, find out. The song was birthed from hearing the music business is weird. People like to talk smack. People like to, you know, cut people down, and there's equally as amount of people that want to do you good and talk good about you, but you rarely ever really hear those, unless it's like comment sections or you should meet them at a show. But for us as a band, and for me personally, my ear is always on the ground because I'm constantly. I'm just not that I'm looking for reasons to hear negativity, but I'm always looking for feedback, I guess, in a way. And there for a while, um, we kept just hearing negative things about us, negative things about me, and I know sometimes I could probably come off as pretentious or like a Mr. Know-it-all. And I try not to. I try to be a pretty easygoing person. Um, um, but there was a certain time where here in Amarillo, there was some things being said about me going around that I didn't pay my dues in the music business, and I didn't do this or I didn't do that to earn the position of where my band was headed. Because our first 2.5 years, we did really well for ourselves. We came out of the gate on fire and played a lot of places, and we've built a pretty decent resume. And we rarely played in town. And so we kind of just took that negativity, and that's one of my favorite things to do is take something negative and make something positive out of it. And man, I heard some more things about not just me, about our band in general, and of course they're just people's opinions. Um, and but I was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of hearing it because those same people, when I meet them in public, are like, "How you doing, brother? Let me buy you a drink, shake your hand, let's hang out." Um, and I, I guess one night I got a little tipsy and was kind of ticked off at that, and I started writing these lyrics in my phone. I was at a bar, and I started just writing things down. because one of those people were in the crowd. And I even approached him, was like, "Hey, what's your problem? What's your deal? What's going on with this?" And they hit me with the Porky Pig, I love you, brother. And I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. And so fuck around, find out. It's all about like approaching those people that are talking constantly. We got a lot of keyboard warriors today. But when it comes to in-person confrontation or conflict, they get soft real quick. And so that's what the song's about. And it pretty much tells you, like, hey, you know what? I'm approaching you now. You've talked all this. I'm here. We're here. Stand up. Be a man. Be a woman. Be whoever you are. Show some backbone. Back up what you say. And if you're looking for some trouble, well, I'm right here. Because tonight's the night you fucked around and found out. And so we teamed that up with some heavy guitar riffs, some nice uh, surprise at the end. We've got a nice little bridge section that brings it down in peaks and valleys, and it's our heaviest song to date. But at the same time, you still feel that Red Dirt inspiration, the Southern rock inspiration, with a mixture of our heavy rock and metal inspirations as well. And that's what it's FAFO. Follow us on Spotify or wherever you stream your music, and it releases next Friday.
Nice. And Bolt Studios is
Yeah,
where
so
you recorded?
we recorded with Jared Felucci in Bolt Studios. Man, he runs a great studio. You know, Jared Felucci has, he's performed live and recorded with Giovanni the Hired Guns, Co Wetzel, and a multitude of other phenomenal artists. The guy's resume speaks for himself. So you're going to get quality work. And what I like about working with Jared Felucci, we've worked with a lot of great studios. What I like working with Jared is he's honest about what's being made, right? Um, he'll tell you like, we can do better than that. Let's either rewrite that section or let's do something different. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's make the song a banger. Let's just not throw another product out there. And he's not a just push record type producer. He really wants whatever it is you're working on to be successful for you, and in turn, it will build his name up. But he really wants you as an artist to succeed. So I can't praise him enough. We've built a great friendship over the past 4 years. We recorded our very first song, "Falling Apart," with him, and then it took us kind of because they got busy, they went on tour, life got crazy, and we just couldn't link up. So being able to come back and our first song with him is FAFO, which is full of attitude, full of gusto, full of anger. It just felt right, and so I just can't praise him in the studio enough. Bolt Audio there in Fort Worth, and I need to throw another shout out. That song would have not happened if there was a local venue here called the Blind Pig here in Amarillo. And the owner come up to me and said, "Hey, when are you guys recording another song?" And I would, I tell him like we're planning on it. Funds are this, funds are that. So going to the studio can be pricey. And he said, "You tell me what you need, and I'll make it happen." And my eyebrows raised up, and I was like, "What you mean?" And he and I sat down, and the guy said, "Here's X amount of money. Go record your song. I'm sponsoring the song." And which we had the money. He just made it, him doing that, just believing in us like that, um, made things so much easier. You have a little breathing room on the budget. You're able to, rent a Airbnb versus a hotel room and sleep five people in one room kind of thing. So, without the Blind Pig, without Jared Felucci, without Fat Boy Hat Company, who makes all our merch, and the guy that owns the company, Kevin Jones, he's also our financial manager and band manager. Without those three things aligning, we wouldn't have been able to record FAFO. And because we were able to save money by having a sponsor, we already went and recorded another song with Jared Felucci at Bolt, not even 3 weeks ago. And so now we're ahead of the game for ourselves. Typically, we release 2 songs a year. We've already got 2 songs recorded, and we've got 3 or 4, and in the lineup to go back and do. So having that local support really helped. a lot, and having Jared believe in our what we're trying to do. He really believes in it, and that's just a just a great experience there at Bolt Audio.
Definitely, like you said, breathing room, and man, like you figure, even as a musician, when you listen to the song and it just you had this amount of time and it had to be done, and then you listen to it and it's always like the what could have beens. Whatnot.
Yeah,
If you had a little more time, man, we could have done this there. And
yeah. And we talk about that, like, yeah, it would be great to have the budget, like the big artist has, where they disappear for 60 to 90 days and they live in the studio and they're writing songs while in the studio and they're able to do all kinds of different things, versus to where we're at, we're scratching the surface of being a regional act. um, you got to come prepared and you got to have your ducks in a row, and also be open and be willing to get produced and get. Sometimes you need to hear that your stuff sucks, but here's how we can make it better. And that's why you can go somewhere cheap, let somebody push record for you and just throw songs out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've done it. Um, versus paying a little more, getting a better product, but also getting taught, like, here's how you really want to make a banger. Here's how you really want to make something profitable. You gonna be okay over there? So mama's coming. So that's my 5 month old. Apparently I'm still fertile in my old years. Um, this one wasn't supposed to happen. Um, she's a coming. Somebody's sleepy.
yeah,
Yeah, no. There she is. So yeah, so if you're over the age of 30 and you already have one kid, go get fixed. Anybody watching this, I highly suggest it. 5 kids at 38 is and trying to be a professional musician.
yeah,
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of what I'm blessed. I love all my babies. I'm so blessed.
yeah. Hey, you'd be at the at the sports field. They'd be like, "Which one's yours?" You're like,
All of
"Yeah,
them. All of them.
all of them."
All of them.
Oh,
I grew up in a big family, so like my dad is the oldest of three. I'm the oldest of four originally. I got two brothers. One passed away at birth, and my sister. But then my mom and dad, when they were married, turned around and adopted one. And then when they got divorced, my mom turned around and adopted like six more. And then she has like four step kids. And then my dad has. She's been constipated, so I think that's what's going on. And then my dad has like three step kids, but I'm the oldest out of all of them. So like 20 something kids, I'm the
wow.
oldest. So I'm kind of used to a very large family, and it's appropriate that I got 5 kiddos. So
Yeah, that's like my only claim to fame in our family. I'm the oldest, and my mom, she's one from out of 10. Like everybody had 10 kids.
that's wild. But my
Yeah,
grandfather he's from that generation. They were like 10 kids. So
yeah. I can't
how
imagine.
they
Like,
did it back then, and how they
yeah,
did it back then, I
the
don't know
row home.
how'd you.
Especially my aunt Edie, 10 kids in a South Philly row home. Like it was like at my great grandmother's house, we'd have these parties with both sets of families with that's
Yeah.
20 kids, and I just would look for a piece of furniture just to like lay under and
Wow.
just sit there because
What part of do you still live up near Philly or any?
mm-hmm.
I can't remember where you at. Okay, so I have visited a lot, Philly and like, um, what's that place in Jersey that's right on the other side of the
Hoboken,
Paulsboro. I've been to Paulsboro, New Jersey, quite a
Marlboro.
few
Okay.
times, which was like a skip and a rock to the Philadelphia. Like my first time working
Oh,
for the
that's cool.
WWE was in Philly, and
Okay.
that was pretty cool. So yeah, I actually like it up there a lot. I've always liked visiting.
Yeah, especially that's what I tell people. Like a lot of stuff up here is old. I mean, and
Yeah, really
it's
cool.
it's kind of old everywhere, but this is just like old. So,
Different, old, yeah.
like
Like beginning of America, old kind of. Yeah.
right.
I,
I always laugh. They're like, "Where's the best cheesesteak?" I'm like, "The Liberty Bell's right over there, dude." You know.
yeah. Well, I ain't gonna lie, that was me. So, so I ain't gonna lie, I was because I don't know, I'm a foodie. So like when I visited up there, this is probably 7 years ago, I was the same way. I was like, one, where's the best Philly cheesesteak? And then I want to go to an old Irish pub or an old pub, little corner pub or something like that. The first time I walked into a what do they call the little markets? The bodegas.
Bodega.
First time I walked into a bodega, I was like, this is awesome. You know, because I grew up in North Florida and then going to college and stuff in Tennessee. I'm so used to certain things, and I only see those things in movies. And so I was like, I gotta experience this. And I got some wild stories that one day maybe when we sit down and have a beer, I can tell you because they're pretty lengthy, but you'll be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Probably, especially with Philadelphia. Like in finding out love like the Texas red dirt
Yeah,
and the Texas country guys, and they're like, "Man, we hate coming up to play around you." I'm like, I know, like,
really.
well, it's the whole Cowboys and Eagles thing, and I'm like, dude, I can't even tell you an Eagle, but
Dude,
like,
one of our best shows was a whole venue full of Eagles fans at Filthy McNasty's. One of our best shows we ever had. One of the best nights. I'm down for it. Like I take me up there. I'm happy. I'm happy to go.
yeah, it's just like I know like, I missed this Shane Smith show, and I'm like, how was it? Somebody let me know, and they're like, oh well, Chase was wearing Cowboys something, and people were singing the chant and doing the song. I'm like, yeah, go figure. I'm like, what
Yeah.
do you expect? These guys are, that's their home team. I'm like, really going 13th grade. I just,
That's a heavy rivalry, man. It's
I,
weird. I'm a Texans fan, and so when people find out I'm a Texans fan and they're a Dallas fan, I catch a lot of hell. And I'm just like, well, at least my team consistently goes to the playoffs. Um, I don't know what to tell you. Like, we may not win anything, but we go to the playoffs pretty consistently. So,
yeah, I know nothing about sports. I just know when I say I, I'm I live in Delaware, but I just say Philly because
okay, yeah,
people go, oh, Delaware, like, isn't that far?
that's a
I'm like,
pretty
what?
state too,
They're like, a lot of people think it's in Colorado all the time. I'd be like, no, that's Denver,
man.
Delaware, first state.
So, my first time getting through that, I had family in Virginia Beach, and I've been to Maryland quite a few times because
Mhm.
when I was in college, I had a buddy that lived up there, and but like I had never driven that coastline from like Virginia Beach all the way up through to Philly, and so all those states that I got to go through, hands down to this day, you will not convince me there's any prettier states than those states, like the eastern part of Maryland, and then I can't remember what all the states because I can't think of the map right now, but all those states I had to drive through to get to Philly, hands down to this day, the prettiest, and it was like during fall.
Mm,
And so I was like, you'll never convince me there's anything prettier than these northern
right.
states.
You go through
You
that
know,
like Shenandoah Valley, and
gosh, it was
did you go through the Chesapeake River? I always get the names wrong, but it's like bridge, tunnel.
yes,
It's
yes, and that
long.
made me nervous as hell because I ain't never experienced nothing like that. And so,
Yeah.
so I'm driving. Also, the car that was loaned to me because they want the people that loaned me the car was some family friends. They wanted to make me look good to the WWE. So he had like this Lexus red convertible car, and it was also a standard. And I know how to drive a standard, but this little car, it shifted weird. Like it was very touchy. So I was already nervous. Plus, I'm 6'1" at a time, 6'1", like 245, and like I'm big. I'm driving this little bitty car like this, and so when I got in that enclosed space, I was like, oh, this is like I'm gonna die. Like I just know I'm gonna die. But then, like on the way back from Philly, I had to be in Norfolk, Virginia, and I said it right to whoever hate me. I was supposed to be in Norfolk, Virginia for the following night. Well, I got tired and I can't remember where I stopped. It was some state park in one of those pretty states. And I just hung my feet out the window and slept. And the state police pulled up after I was, I'm in a suit and tie, red convertible. He pulls up and he's like, "Everything all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, is everything okay?" He goes, "It's just we don't see people out here sleeping in red convertibles."
Yeah.
And so if I'd have been in Texas or something, I probably would have got arrested. But it was just a pleasant drive. And I remember looking on the way to Philly, looking to my right, and I can't remember which state it was, and the leaves were falling, and I could see through these half bare trees, and I could see water. And I didn't know if it was the ocean. I didn't know if it was a bay. I didn't know what it was. Then I just remember looking. I was like, "Damn, if I had time, I'd go see what that is. That's so pretty. It's peaceful. I don't know. It just seems peaceful. I even got to where I wanted to move up there for a little while. I got that wild hair. I was like, I'm gonna move up north. Why
Hmm.
not?" And I almost did. I almost moved to Jersey to train at the Monster Factory there in Paulsboro. But um, things changed. Life changed on me. So, but I was almost a neighbor, kind of, sort of.
Right? Yeah, definitely. The tri-state.
Tri-state neighbor or something.
Yeah, right there. And that's very rare to hear from somebody on this podcast of even
And
being anywhere near the Northeast.
I love it. I do, dude. And I mean, if I could, we've looked at doing stuff. I got friends that still live in Jersey. I've got friends that live in different parts of Pennsylvania, and they'll tell like, "Hey, your style of music would do well up here. Like, there's actually a little scene. Why not come up here?" And we've talked about it. We've talked about like we did a tour last year during the spring and went to Destin, Florida. It was all right. It was pretty good. But I got to talking. I was like, "All right, look, there's only two directions I'm going next time we do a tour. I'm either going your way or I'm going like towards like Cali kind of thing." Because I just know like what our show does and our live performance and the style of music we play. I know it would resonate either way. But I've been kind of trying to nudge the guys to go a little further north because you don't hear that often. You don't hear Southern bands like us go north, and I think it could be fun. I could be wrong. We could bomb, but it could be fun.
I've seen some people the first time, maybe it was the first or second time, and the next thing you know that they're selling out.
Hmm.
I do think people like. I mean, people like grew up '90s and 2000s when they were consuming music.
Yeah,
I think they missed that sound, and the sound that like that too became real sterile, and it was like weird. I was like, what happened to this genre? Like
yeah,
it all just like everything, all the soul got squeezed out of it, and then like it got to the point where you can't read the band names, and I was like, this is
yeah.
stupid, man. And I was
And
like,
we did that to our name we were like, you know what, we're gonna slap on a shirt and see. We thought about doing it, so we've
I'm
got a
like,
couple.
I can't read it, and then yeah, but I know a lot of the stuff like what you guys are doing, and Dexter and the Moon Rocks and Treaty Oak. I think people in and Lowland and those guys. I think people, that sounds back,
Yeah, it
Uh,
definitely is.
and it's different.
Mhm.
Everybody, in doing that style has their own characteristics. Immediately when the song starts.
Yeah,
If you can't tell by the guitars, like if you're not like an instrumentalist type ear, as soon as
yeah.
you hear it, you're like, oh, that's them, then that. There's no like
Mhm.
everybody sounds different. That's what I really loved about finding the whole Texas
Yeah.
and all that, because it's cool. It's cool to have bands that sound different. It's so
Yeah.
nice.
Well, that and a lot of people when they hear Texas, and even people sometimes in Texas think, well, and this has happened to us. Well, if you're in Texas, you need to play country or you need to play red dirt, strictly red dirt. And I'm like, you don't think cowboys listen to rock? You don't think I challenge anybody to tell me they go listen to George Strait while they're bench pressing or while they're working out, I'd be surprised there might be one or two, but most time they want something that's going to pump them up, make them feel good. And I'm not talking many mess about George Strait. Love the man. He's probably my favorite older country guy. Um, but my point is like the generation that's in the bars right now, and I've talked this business with others. The generation that's spending money on tickets, going to bars, streaming the music, is that 22, 25, all the way up to about 55 age group. Well, what were they listening to back in the day that they really love? Well, it's all the stuff that we're all finding influence in. And they're rediscovering that sound through all us newer bands. And they're like, hell yeah, I can get behind this. Because there for a while, you think about like Creed wasn't on tour, Three Doors Down wasn't on tour, nobody was on tour anymore. Everybody would kind of like retired or took breaks or just kind of washed out. And then you get this new generation of us doing it who grew up on those things, and now it's reintroduced, and people are excited. They're excited for it. And it's new songs. So we're not playing, Lowland, Treaty Oak. We're not playing a bunch of cover songs. We're playing our own music. It's just inspired by the stuff that everybody missed, for a long time. Um, so I think that's another thing. Is there's this rock awakening that's happening, and people are getting back to just enjoying, what they enjoyed years ago, and that's who's spending money in bars and buying tickets is that 25 to 55 age group, and that's a good thing. That's a very good thing for the music business.
Oh, definitely. And it's cool to see because it's definitely a revival of like an era of people that people loved. And even
Yeah,
if you are older, you're gonna tell somebody younger, like, yeah, you need to listen to this.
yeah,
We'll
and
set you
and you
right.
see it. You see it like if I pulled up my Spotify analytics, I can show you like we have a huge. We don't have a huge following in general, but we have a huge number of people in that 25 to 55. Well, then I go to shows and I watch other bands, and I look in the crowd. It's the same people, and then I hear people come all the time. Sometimes they're a little older, but those like, hey, have you ever heard of such and such? I'm like, yeah, I know those guys. I love those guys. I'm like, well, yeah, we all play the same style, and then you'll see younger people who of course stay on top of the stuff, and but it's man it's really it's refreshing. It's extremely refreshing that people are in love with music again, and they're willing to buy tickets and go out and enjoy themselves and give music a chance. And I think the oversaturation of the mid 2000s um is is slowly fading, and now there's so many options, and I think that's what people have always kind of wanted. In a good way, COVID kind of is the thanks to this. Is COVID forced people to stay home, and it forced people to look for something new and look for something to do, look for something to discover. And what happened coming out of that is people were hungry to go find those new things that they discovered while locked up, and now they're excited to experience it in person. Um, and I guess we can kind of owe it to that. That kind of COVID was kind of like the reset in a way, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Someone's going to correct me, but but in my opinion, COVID reset the music business for some of us, reset the clock, so to speak.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah,
I was so glad when that was over because I was so tired of acoustic music.
I was sick. I was sick for 3 months. Lost almost 90 pounds.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so and that's what caused me to quit wrestling and got pushed me to go and do something else, and I chose to get back into music. But
Mm.
um,
So you had the
but
long COVID. Do
yeah,
you happen to have A negative blood?
I don't remember what I have, to be honest with you.
Because I coughed for 3 months till it was.
I didn't get the cough until right as
Oh,
I started getting better. I was working at a prison, and I woke up. I had both my kids. I was freshly divorced, so I had my kids with me. And I woke up, and I just felt like I was like, who jumped in my house and beat the shit out of me? Because I was like, this hurts. And I had just had pneumonia, like, I don't know, about a month or two before. And I was like, and I knew it was pneumonia. I was like, this is different. This something's wrong. And so I called my ex-wife. She came and picked up the kids. I said, whatever I have, I don't want them to get it. Take them. And I immediately went to the ER. They tested me, Came back, yeah, I had it. They're like, we want to keep you, we want to intubate you, and I'm like, the hell you are. I'll just go home. And it wasn't the next day, and it might even been that day. I was so out of it, I don't remember. But I remember getting a knock on my door. There was somebody from the health department, full PPE, handed me a letter telling me if I left the house that I was getting charged $1,200. Um, and they put a notice on my apartment door that I had COVID and no one is to enter or exit. And I was like to have no human contact. And they would show up every 2 weeks and test me. And I popped every 2 weeks for almost 3 months.
Oh my God.
I went from being like, I don't remember what I was. I know I lost like it was probably like 250, 260. I went all the way down to 190. Only time in my life I ever had abs was when I came out of COVID. So, and I just remember it was miserable. I had a buddy that decided to move in the dark of night and just like keep watch over me. He said there was a night that I was breathing, and he said it sounded like one of the zombies from The Walking Dead.
Hmm.
And he like shook me and woke me. I remember him waking me up, and I was like, "What do you want?" Like, I'm trying to rest. And I mean, I would take showers with no cold water mixed in, um, and it would. I never felt like I could get warm enough. Um, so um, so yeah, I'm happy I got better, but yeah, um, but yeah, I hated it. I'm glad. And then it caused me to have a COVID heart attack a while back, about 4.5 years ago. Um, but I'm all better now. I'm good.
Yeah, I was gonna say you lose that much weight that fast. I'm surprised your heart didn't go into like did it go into like AFib?
So what I don't again, this was all a big blur to me because what happened with the heart attack was I did go back to wrestling for I think about like 6 months or so. Once I got myself into shape, and then I went back to wrestling because I had to put on some weight. Like I was below 200 pounds, um, and so I got back up to like 215, 220, and I was extremely healthy at that time. I was doing like the carnivore diet. I was getting my blood pulled and tested and making sure I was okay. I was going regular to the doctor. Everything looked fine. I was doing fine. I got the A-OK to wrestle, and one of the companies that I wrestled for, which was my home promotion at the time, he told me, he says, I will not book you unless I have a doctor's note saying you are 100% okay. He says, because I'm not going to be responsible for you dying. Because he knew how hard headed I was. And so I did what he asked me. Um, and so one night I was with my kids. I was supposed to go to Tennessee that weekend because about once a month I'd wrestle in Tennessee. And just fed my kids Little Caesars pizza. And so I put them to bed, and I like again 2 slices of pizza. Even now, does me in. I get so full, and I just kept feeling something right here. I felt like maybe food was stuck or whatever, but it was painful. And the kids were finally asleep, and I was like, you know what, whatever it is, I'm gonna throw it up. So I took my fingers, gagged myself, and I threw up. It was like a horror movie. It went everywhere. I've never thrown up so violently, and I think I kind of made it worse because I don't think I needed to throw up. I think I was having, you know, I think I was having a minor, little small heart attack, but caused myself to throw up. My whole left side of my body, sharp pains went up. I started sweating. I'm throwing up. I'm hurting so bad. I'm gritting my teeth and throw up
Hmm.
coming through my teeth. And about a week later, I finally went to the doctor because I had my friends talk me into it, and they said, "Yeah, your blood work and everything shows that you've had a minor heart attack." And then they finally ran some more tests and found out that, yeah, I had some strain on there. And they said it has to be COVID related. If I was never having these issues before, it had to be COVID related. And then that's when they sat me down. I was like, look, now as you had one, you could potentially have another. Do you really want to have that while you're wrestling in a wrestling ring somewhere? And I mean, at that time, I was like wrestling in West Virginia, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee. I was traveling, trying to get my name out there, and it was a hard decision. And I just kind of just walked away from everything. And I got some tests I got to do, like some checkup tests I need to do. I got to wear a monitor for like a month, but that's just trying to put it off. I'm trying to, because I feel good, so I'm trying to put it off as long as I can.
Typical guy thing.
I've been an athlete all my life, man, ever since I was like 6 years old, and it's just, I guess some things are just hard to let go. You know, it's I try even now. I got some injuries that are flared up, and it makes it hard on me. You'll never know at a show. You'll never be able to tell. As soon as I get in private, yeah, you'll be like, man, what's wrong with you? You all right?
Yeah. Give me ice now.
Yeah.
Put me in that ice bath.
I don't miss that, to be honest with you. I mean, we did that in college when I played college football, and it felt good then. But I tried doing that when I was doing pro wrestling. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. It's just, I don't know, my mindset was different or whatever it was, but I hated
I couldn't do it. It's
it. The first little bit sucks, but when I was in college, maybe it was the peer pressure. Maybe it was where, you got all your teammates around you and they're waiting for their turn. You don't want to bitch out. Where when I tried it, I was at the gym and I made myself an ice bath and I got in and came right back out. I was like, hell no, this just ain't for me.
yeah. Like back in the day, oh, this is fine.
Yeah, macho as shit. Yeah.
And you just like, as soon as you have a moment to yourself, you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
someone light me on fire right now. I'm so cold. But that's funny. But yeah, man, we've been talking for like over an hour. Do we talk about everything?
I think we did. I mean, I think I said we're going to Sturgis this upcoming weekend. We're gonna have a good time up there. Uh, um, we've got a song coming out at the end of the month, and then 90 days we're gonna be releasing another song. But we'll talk about that, and and we talked about what shred dirt is, what it means to us. We do call ourselves the kings of shred dirt. That's not a disrespect to anything. We just really believe in what we're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just really believe in what we're doing, man. Um, and if I was told tomorrow that someone, BC in a big rig or anybody that came before us found it disrespectful to themselves, I'd probably cut it out. But we're 4 years deep into this, and I think we got it. So, but no, we're just the Stray Sons we're just a bunch of normal dudes trying to have a good time. We all come from some crazy different backgrounds. The name itself is appropriate because we're a bunch of strays, and I don't have any ties to Amarillo other than my two kids and now my wife. Outside of that, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have family here. I moved to Texas because I wanted to be in Texas and have nobody here until I created my own family. Both my guitar players were in and out of the area for a long time growing up. Really don't have a lot of ties here. The two guys that have any ties here, my current drummer, and my current bass player, but they have a very small circle themselves, and so we're all it's very niche for what we are, and niche or whatever you say, but we kind of found each other, and we're like a little pack of stray dogs, and just create music that we want to connect with people. We pride ourselves in not copying or trying to be the next this or the next that. We just write, and whatever comes out at the end is what you guys hear, and we hope people like it, and we make sure we tell stories. We want our stories to resonate, whether they're funny, fun, sad, happy, whatever. And we hope people will give us a chance. I know we're not the younger guys that's killing it right now, but we all have something to bring to the table, I think. And I have a huge amount of love and respect for everybody that's in the business right now, doing their thing. Um, and so just give us a shot at the Stray Sons, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you stream music, hit us a follow. And I tell people all the time, following a band on Spotify is probably one of the biggest moves you can make. I know people push social media and stuff like that, but Like just because people's watching your videos or just because they're liking your Facebook post don't mean they're listening to your music. If you go hit that follow button on Spotify, it helps you with your streams, with algorithms and all this other crazy scientific stuff. But hit follow on Spotify of your favorite artist, whether they're big or small. That helps massive. Um, and so follow us on Spotify, please.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't really mess with Spotify, but that's nice to know.
It's the main thing that. Now I saw like Cole Barnhill put a post up a couple days ago, and I thought it was hilarious because it don't make sense, right? The dude has millions of followers, millions of streams. It shows that millions of people are listening to his music. Plus, every show he plays is almost a sellout, or it is a sellout. And then some venue had the audacity to tell him, "Well, you ain't got X amount of followers on TikTok. We can't book you." And it's
That's
like,
crazy.
who gives a crap on who pushes play on a video? I want them to show up and listen to the song, and where they listen to the songs at. Show me proof they're listening to the songs. Well, Spotify is your number one, uh, streaming service that shows that you're, you know, people's listening to your music. So I always push that, and then you can always follow us for the other fun content on the other social media stuff. But yeah, Spotify, it really does help. And for example, and I won't go long on this, I'm sorry, but we were approached at one point a lot, maybe 2 years ago, and they were like, hey, we really like your music, we like where you're headed. Uh, Send me all your links. And so we send them our links. And they're like, man, we'd love to work with you. We'd love to give you guys an opportunity, but your Spotify numbers, it shows us that there's not many people listening to your music. And I was like, damn, that hurt because I was like, live show wise, it wouldn't have mattered because we're going to kick ass. But they wanted to see who was, if you're listening to your music, they're probably going to want to come by a ticket to see you. So that's just where I stand. And again, I could be wrong, but the last I understand, it's about good Spotify numbers equal good opportunities. And that's why I keep pushing it.
I have seen that. I've seen posters for that's like on the poster of how many Spotify users they have and everything. I just thought I didn't know it was that pertinent, but
It's a
that's wild.
business at the end of the day, and sometimes I don't agree with how business is done, but it is what it is. It's you gotta go with the flow sometimes, and just if you're trying to make this and turn this into a living, you just gotta. There's certain points of the business you gotta be willing to buy into, and I'm almost 40, so I'm trying to get as much fun out of it, longevity out of it as I can. So there's still things I want to do I ain't done yet. So I'm gonna try to push it as hard as I can.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Yeah.
that's that's the way to be. That also helps that driving force because some people don't have that and you can't put it in them. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm chasing. I tell my guys all the time I'm chasing. There's only my drummer's the only other guy that's done it. But when I was young, I think I was like 13, I got to play drums in front of 5,000 people. Um, and it was a very active 5,000 people. And I'm chasing that again. I've never had that opportunity ever again. I'd love to. And the only way to do that right now is I got to get those numbers up and get the following, get the people that's willing to come to the shows. And just got to get those numbers up. And if I never reach that, that's fine. At least I can say I tried and I gave it my all. But that's what I'm chasing. I'm chasing that feeling again, being in front of that big of a crowd. So,
There's enough festivals
oh yeah,
and that love your guys' type sound.
yeah,
So
we're working
hopefully,
on it. We're definitely working on it. We, um, due to a death in the family, we had to cancel our first festival appearance this past weekend in Clovis. It was just bad timing with the death, and then we've got some smaller festivals booked throughout the year. One of them's gonna be in Oklahoma, and uh, so we're just again hungry for opportunities, but we're also blessed. We're booked every weekend until September, and I don't know. It's just been, and it's all over the place. Different states, different cities. We play in our hometown maybe 4 times, you know, um, and I mean, hell, May 9th, we're opening for Austin Mead. 4 years ago, we wouldn't have thought that. You're right, and that just adds another hat. We've opened for Treaty Oak, the Hoosier Brothers. We've opened up for them Dirty Roses. We've opened up for Bart Crow. Now we're going to get to do it. Do something with Austin Mead. Um, uh, and then so I mean, it's just we're pushing the needle, and it seems like this year has been a really good year, promising year for us. So I can't wait to see what comes down the pipeline.
Same here. All those names, I love all those guys.
Oh yeah.
I've been able to hang out with a bunch of them. They're great dudes too. I would
Oh
I would
yeah.
love to be able to play on the same stage with them.
I would love to do more with them Dirty Roses. I think those guys, and we haven't played with Austin Mead yet, but those guys so far have been. Plus, we have a weird personal connection. We all kind of know some of the same people in Nashville, and where they grew up, not far from where I grew up in Florida. Um, and and plus at the show, we just vibed. Like we meshed well. Our sound really did well together, and like I'd love to get back on stage with those guys, man, because those guys bring it. And I also learned a lot being around those guys, just absorbing their music and stuff, and just those guys probably like my favorite out of that group that I mentioned. Really love those guys, and so happy to see that the level of success they're having right now is well deserved.
Absolutely, yeah. They're some of my favorite guys too.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool when I see them and they're like, "Yo!" I'm like, man, this is awesome. And without knowing who's on stage, I could hear his guitar playing. I'm like Andrew's up there.
Yeah.
And I told him that. He's like, dude, that's like the nicest compliment. I was like, yeah, I knew it was you because we have very similar guitar styles. He does a lot more arpeggios, which I only practice them just in case I ever have to play in front of him.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to try to mimic what he's doing because that's what every guitar player does when another guitar player starts playing that you really like, and you're just kind of like, we're doing this, dude. Come on.
And Andrew did us a solid. There was the Rail in Fort Worth was looking for a local opener act to open up for Scotty Austin and Jared Weeks of Saving Abel and a couple other rock bands. Now we've been trying to dip our toes in the rock scene a little more often, and I'd commented on there. I didn't expect to get it. I was like, hey, the Stray Sons would be perfect for this. We have a very similar style. And Andrew comments like, book the Stray Sons. They bring the heat. And next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call. I was like, hey, I heard down the pipeline you guys were worth booking, so I'm booking you guys. And it was really cool kind of see that. That's been 3 years since I've seen those guys. And it was kind of cool that we still have that type of impression where they're like, they'll still put us over to bookers or promoters or wherever to help us get some opportunities. And I just like what they're doing musically. Everything they're doing, I haven't found a miss yet. I enjoy it all. It's like new and old school Southern rock, and it's just tasty. It's very good.
It is.
Yeah. Damn, we've gone with about an hour and 30 minutes, even with all the screw ups, huh?
Yeah, we have like maybe 5-6 times. It's been a little while.
I can talk music, man. I love talking. I love talking music.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for taking time out and talking tonight.
Oh man, thank you for having me on. I've followed you from like day one when the band started, and so like to get to do this is another full. This year has been nothing but full circles, and so like being on here it means a lot. Like the first time you reviewed any of our music, I was like, whoa, that's like, are we making it now? Or are we coming up in the world? Like it was really it's really cool and have a fanboy moment. But what you've done with this podcast and everything, people pay attention. And I will say that bands do get followers from what you're doing, and what you're doing matters. It sheds a light on us smaller guys who's chasing a dream as well. And so it's again, thank you for having me on. It's been a blessing. It's an honor to be here. And I'm hoping down the line you can come to one of our shows and have a good time with us. Maybe hop on stage and kick Jared off the guitar for a second and take over.
Yes, I always say as long as I'm not drinking, I'll play because I'm one of
Well,
those guys.
that's the problem. You come to one of our shows, you're going to drink one for two reasons. One, because we're so good and you really enjoy it, and I'm going to tell you to keep drinking, or we suck that bad that you got to drink so that we do sound good.
That's fun. That's like my lead singer used to say, "We got a tip jar. Tip if you like us, and tip us if you think we need music lessons." So win-win.
That's great.
You think we suck, tip us so we'll go get lessons.
That's a good one.
But yeah, man, once again, I appreciate you sitting here and talking. Had a great time. And yeah, down the line, if you ever want to do it again, we'll definitely do round 2. And if there's anything you ever want me to like do anything or video on or anything, just let me know.
Yeah, I definitely want to get your reaction on FAFO. Like, I want that one.
Yeah.
It's very different. So I'd like to get your reaction on that.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Hopefully it doesn't get muted. Sometimes they get muted and I have to like chop it up. But you still kind of get like the whole thing. But yeah. It's like hit or miss anymore. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. Like,
me either.
I hate that I can't even listen to music and then open Facebook because now the music stops when you open Facebook. Like, there's just so many weird things.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's whatever it is. I don't like it. I need it.
Yeah. That's so crazy because today I was like, why did my music stop? I'm like, and then that was it. And I'm like, but I'm not watching movies on here. I'm not watching anything. Just
I
heard a broom. If
anybody knows how to fix it, if there's a setting that I'm missing, tell us, because my main thing is I don't really listen to music. I listen to podcasts. So like I need my podcast. I can't go without my podcast. So,
yeah.
And I like to doom scroll while I listen sometimes. So
oh yeah, dude, definitely. You go down and you're like, oh, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oops. My bad. I said I'd never do this again 15 minutes ago. But
yep.
Here I am. It's May.
Yep.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I guess I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll talk to you soon.
For sure, man. Thank you for having me on.
Dude, thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, yeah, cool.